A major gift to the Magnes collection was the gift of the Roman Vishniac archive by the photographer's daughter, Mara Vishniac-Cohn. Roman Vishniac was born in Russia at the end of the 19th century, lived a very long life, died in New York City in 1990, and as far as we know, was a photographer for most of his life. Since he was a little kid, he received a camera and he never stopped taking photographs. He was able to take photos of urban life in Europe, documenting the rise of the Nazis in Europe. He was sent to do photographs of East European, Central East European Jewish communities on the eve of World War II. And he arrived to New York City on New Year's Eve of 1940 with his family. It was a very complex journey to get to safety. And he established himself on the Upper West Side in New York City and began documenting marginal communities across New York, so from nightclubs to Chinatown and everything in between, and then eventually became a global name for his work on East European Jews after the war, and especially very late in his life in the 1980s with the publication of an anthological volume called The Vanished World. It was the world of East European Jews before World War II, before the Holocaust, that he was perceiving as a vanishing world already then, a traditional way of life that was almost long gone before his eyes, just before the beginning of World War II and the Holocaust, and he photographed communities that were devastated, in most cases destroyed, individuals who perished in many cases, although some of them did not, and research was done to actually find survivors that were portrayed in his photos. But in general, understanding why he photographed those images is particularly important. Recent research points us towards the fact that he was hired by an American Jewish relief organization, the American Joint Distribution Committee, to go and document specifically destitute Jewish communities who were destitute in the wake of World War I, the great refugee crisis, the crashing of three empires, the reshuffling of the geopolitical balances and equilibrium all over Europe and beyond. So these were people who were kind of caught in between the shuffles of history. And he was hired to document their lives so that then wealthier people, especially in the United States, will be moved to donate money for relief causes. A participant observer, more being really a documentarian and somewhat detached. When we read his annotations on the back of the prints, we realize that he actually knew a great deal about what he was photographing, and he was feeling a lot of empathy for what he was documenting. So when we look at his photos, we look at a photo of Jews in the Transcarpathian region who are farmers and they're plowing the land, and we see flying on top of the field a stork. We know that he was actually catching both, that he was very interested in the stork. We find how he documented birds and flight of birds in all sorts of ways, etc. So he was really probably rejoicing in taking a photo like that. Again, this is me interpreting and building a story around the photo. But clearly two subjects that were dear to him and important to him happened to be in the same frame at the same time. What an incredible opportunity, and what kind of symbolism could come out of that and that synergy. And the same is also true of places. Synagogues with all of their sacred objects as little museums of Jewish life that the photographer very clearly, very much before the Holocaust, of course without any knowledge of the danger that was about to be impending on the individuals and places he was documenting, would be like. So very much away from any kind of foreshadowing of the Holocaust, a world and a reality that he already felt had been vanished from the world, had been already shuffled away from history.